Great. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for another Midday Mastery from Professional Development Work Group. We are excited to have you for an amazing topic today. One of the goals of the Midday Mastery is to bring you some bite-sized information to encourage you to extend your education within our industry and to seek out some courses that the Real to Real Estate School presents. So today we will be bringing you a hot topic, and we will be leading it with Sherry. Please introduce the antitrust.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Please be aware of the fact that those present today are in the real estate brokerage business, and many individuals are located in the same market areas. As a result, antitrust laws require that there be no discussion at this meeting concerning certain competitive business practices, such as the amount of fees, commissions, splits, salesperson compensation, or the boycotting of other real estate firms. The chair or assigned staff will stop the discussion and/or the meeting should the conversation move into these areas of potential antitrust violation.
Thank you so much, Sherry, for that. And to get started, we have our lovely moderator, Lenora Tolliver. Lenora, please introduce our speakers and our topic for the day.
Hello, everyone. Yes, we had a great topic today. The topic of our session today is unlocking the power of lead generation. And we brought along some great speakers that are going to provide information to you on just doing that. So the order of our speakers today will be Mr. Nick Libert, and he will speak in reference to how an agent can consistently attract and convert leads. Nick will come first. They'll have 10 minutes each to go over their topic. So, our speaker number two will be Miss Allison Swedenberg, and she's going to talk about the practical and proven strategies for lead generation. And to round out and finish up today's topic, Miss Mallori Lockett will speak in reference to skills that agents or licensees need in order to leverage their unique strategies. So, Nick, if you'll start us off with your topic today, again, of how an agent can consistently attract and convert leads, we'll greatly appreciate it. You got 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, do me a favor and someone tell me when I've run over my time because you might have to reclaim the mic. I am so passionate about what's going on right now, and I want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to be here today. We have had so much shakeup in our marketplace, and we've got to think about it. I feel like we all need to sit down and give each other a hug, a group industry hug, because what's happened is over the last 5 years, we went from a great market in 2018 and 19 into a pandemic. We went straight from the pandemic into a mass rush due to record low interest rates, and then the resulting record low inventory. And then we had the interest rate massive hike. And oh, wait, we're not done yet. Obviously, we've now had this National Association of Realtors proposed settlement. And so our heads are spinning, our clients' heads are spinning. So we need to give each other all a collective hug, but then also the reset has to start with us internally. And so what we need to figure out is what can we do to kind of protect our peace and then turn around and start to represent our value proposition. So I'm actually excited what this brings us at the Chicago Association of Realtors for ourselves and our consumers. I believe this is a great reset, just like the pandemic reset all of us in terms of figuring out what was important to us, the quality of life. When was the last time that I read a book before the pandemic? Don't tell anyone it was not not in the late 2010s for sure. So we have the opportunity to reset, and let's start by habits at home, because all health and wealth does start at home for both us and our consumers. I want you to start rethinking what you do in the morning, and that's what I've been doing with our agents and Exit Strategy Realty. Is I'm saying, guys, it starts at home. It starts with you. We've kind of got to reposition ourselves and protect our peace. And how we're going to start doing that, number one, is in the morning, the Miracle Morning Routine. There's a great book called Make Your Bed, and then there's a second great book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And there's a third book I'd recommend. By the way, I have a book list. I got all these resources for you. I'll talk to you about how to get them in a second, because I have lists of everything. I'm trying to be more organized this year moving forward. But we have to start at home and start with that miracle morning routine. And what I encourage people to do is to get up, get out of bed, make that bed, get a little exercise or movement in it. It doesn't have to be all about fitness. It can be about mental fitness. It can be about prayer, meditation. But once you do that, the next step, the very next thing I want everyone to do is get online. Yes, believe it or not, get online, whether it's on your smartphone, whether it's on your laptop or desktop, and open up LinkedIn and your favorite thing in the world, or it should be your favorite thing in the world, your CRM of choice. And by the way, the best CRM is the CRM that you are going to actually use. And all of us have the great gift of our smartphone to be used as a CRM. And what I want you to do is think about an 8x8 routine. And what I mean by 8x8 is 8 contacts that you are going to re-engage by 8 a.m. And that's have mets. And so those have mets are people that when you open up LinkedIn, you have the opportunity. By the way, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, or you need to refresh that profile, today might be the day. There's some great online tools to help you. AI is out there. I know a lot of you are following Marky Lemons-Ryall and what she's doing in that space. I've got tools for you and ideas for you as well. There's some really great vendors out there that are brand agnostic, that are experience agnostic out there. One of them is RoomView, ROOMVU. And RoomView can connect to your social media and start posting for you and doing some stuff if you're scared of going out there and doing video or getting on LinkedIn on your own. But you need to get on LinkedIn. Here's why. People are getting tired on Facebook. Some people don't like Instagram. I can't figure it out. TikTok, I am afraid of it, even though I do have it. Connect with me on social media. You're going to see some of the stuff that I'm promoting out there that our industry needs to start talking about. Green sustainable housing. I'm right in today in a green sustainable home. It's an all electric home. We're going to actually have a home tour of this property at 6444 South Rhodes on April 20th at 11 a.m. Don't worry, you don't even have to write this stuff down. The link I'm going to give you at the end of this has all the information on it. But when you get on LinkedIn in the morning, guess what? All of your clients, they may not be on Facebook, they may not be on Instagram, but most of them are on LinkedIn. Or maybe you need to help coach them to get on LinkedIn. But what do we know? People are on LinkedIn with their actual contact information. Once you connect with them on LinkedIn, you can have, I think, 25,000 or 20,000 LinkedIn connections. So there's never enough. You go on LinkedIn, you connect with all of your past clients, all of your not yet mets. We're going to talk about them in a minute. And what happens then is you are able to get first name, last name, email address, their actual contact information. Because people are on LinkedIn to do what? Get jobs, get better jobs, or turn around and build their team or their business up. So almost everyone is on LinkedIn at this point. And so their contact information is on there. You can start building a relationship or rebuild your relationship. You start every morning on LinkedIn. You clicked on the celebrations tab you go on My Network, and right underneath that, there's a new app, it's relatively new, a piece called Celebrations. And that has who has a birthday today or recent birthdays, who has a birthday coming up, who has a job anniversary. What happens when people have new jobs or are having an anniversary of jobs? A lot of times they're either moving, they're thinking about moving, upgrading, downgrading, relocating, downsizing, whatever the situation is. It's an opportunity to celebrate people. 8 people by 8 a.m. And it's also a great time when you go in and you realize, okay, well, this person has a birthday. Open up that phone, because your phone is a CRM. Your phone should be connected to your Google Contacts or whatever else is out there to connect to your CRM. But your phone, brand agnostic to the phone, by the way, whether it's an Apple or an Android, whether the text messages are green or blue, I do not care. All of them are going to have the capability to have first name, last name, email address, cell phone number, birthday. And then we at the Chicago Association of Realtors have a very special gift, by the way. It's called Forewarn. And I'm very, very passionate about Forewarn because it's a safety feature. It's also a feature to make sure who's real and who's not. And it's just a reminder of, like, I need to know who I'm meeting. And it's also a great way to kind of confirm contact information. So you've got all these beautiful tools out there to reconnect and rebuild relationships. Because what happened was we went from the greatest real estate market in history, and we were all super busy. And we started to get out of touch with our past clients, out of touch with some people that weren't directly in front of us needing housing that day. And so what we need to do then is reconnect with all those people, make sure we got the right contact information, check in, how are they doing? Because they also went through a pandemic. They also went through the great rush of real estate. They also went through the interest rates and are going through the interest rates that we went through, although no one else feels it the way that realtors feel it right now, except maybe loan officers. And here's why. The rest of the public, this is not 2008, 9, and 10. A lot of us, including myself, almost lost themselves in 2008, 9, and 10. I've been doing this for 26 years. I've all ever done as an adult, helped over 700 families get into housing across Chicagoland and the Midwest. Guess what? The regular consumer is not feeling it the same way as us. So we can't go cry on their shoulders, but we need to check in on them too, because they're going through stuff too. But also, so once you've done that 8x8, and I know I'm almost out of time, I can feel it. Guess what? You have an opportunity to do two more things. 10x10. What is that? 2 extra people. If you are not in RPR, Realtors Property Resource, we are realtors, we are real estate professionals. And how are you going to be more professional, position yourself? You need RPR, Realtors Property Resource. We also have a gift in our local association MLS of Remind. Okay, some people like realist, but I'm a Remind guy. Guess what? That means you can go meet 2 new people, walk your block, know your block, and say, okay, I want to not only have a relationship with people I know, but I want to have a relationship and information on the properties that I do not yet know the owner or the tenant of. Those are the relationships. It's a contact, it's a property, and a relationship between that contact and that property owner or tenant. That is a habit to build in to meet 2 new people, because a lot of us are riding, myself included, on the coattails of their past business. We can't do that anymore. Have mets 8x8, 2 additional people, that makes usually 10 people, 10x10 by 10 a.m. I have one final thought. If you're not tracking, you're slacking. So all of this stuff needs to be tracked. And when you do that, I got some tools for you. How do you get a hold of me? Because I know I'm now over time, I believe. You just text my last name, L-I-B as in boy, E-R-T, to the number 85377. Again, that's L-I-B-E-R-T to the number 85377. You'll get all my contact information. And then also, once you click on that little link and my mobile business card, you will also have access to my social media. And there's a little special tool for realtors that's got some additional contact information and some upcoming events. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Nick, let me give you a hand, because I feel like we just went through a master class in 10 minutes. You did that, snapping fingers and everything. So listen, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. And all I heard was reset, use your resources, whether that's the smartphone, the dumb phone, or whatever kind of phone it is. Use it, because it's already there, and social media and LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Nick. That was amazing. That was amazing. Uh-oh, Allison. He set the
I know,
bar
I got to
high.
follow that up.
You
Hey
ready?
guys, believe it or not, I have to go because I got to host this open house here at this all electric home. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
We
Have a great day.
appreciate you, Nick. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Value added. But Allison is going to bring some fire too. So while the flames are still hot, we'll have Allison Swedenberg to talk to us again about the practical and proven strategies for lead generation. You have 10 minutes, Allison.
Perfect. I am not sure what just happened to my camera. Oh, there we go. So lead generation, it is, I think, one of the most important aspects of the real estate industry. A lot of times agents get so focused on working in their business that they forget to work on their business and to fill that pipeline. I'm a big advocate for having at least a minimum of 3 different avenues in which you're going to be generating leads from. Now, the most important thing, no matter what you choose, is consistency. So often I meet agents that have tried something once or twice and gave up on it because they didn't see that immediate return. But because they didn't continuously build on it, they didn't commit to it, they basically, one, wasted their energy and their time the one or two times they did do it, and they gave up on it too soon. So whatever it is that you choose, make sure it's something that you're willing to commit to for a minimum of 6 months. Now, leads always come in the two forms, right? Warm versus cold. Warm leads convert at a percentage of 14.6%, whereas cold leads will convert about 1.7%. I still think it's very important to work on both of those avenues and have a mixture in there. But if you could convert 14.6% of a warm lead as opposed to 1.7 of a cold lead, make sure you're focusing your energy of where you're likely going to be seeing results, especially if you have limited budget or limited time to be able to do this. So for warm leads, we just went through a masterclass of how to reconnect with your sphere and how to make sure that you're really engaging with them. So I will skip over all of that. But I think it's really important to continue to build your sphere and to do it consciously. So joining groups, things that you love, things that organically can help you connect to people. And that could be book clubs, PTA, sports teams, volunteer for a charity. Meet other people that are also passionate about the things that you love. And then you will start building your sphere of influence, which is going to give you a huge percentage of your business. I also think it's very important to be present for your friends and families, for those birthday parties, for those dinners, showing up. When I first started, I thought it was better to seem like that really busy agent, and I was late to dinners or birthday parties. I, couldn't go because I was hosting something else or I had a last minute showing. And it's important to do those things, but if you're not showing up for those people in your life on days that are important to them, they're not going to show up for you. And unfortunately, I learned that the hard way. So definitely make sure that you're prioritizing the people that are important in your life so that they know that they're important. Most people know 10 to 12 realtors. And if you're not the one who's showing up for them, why should they commit their time, their precious energy, their finances, and their trust in you? I also think it's important to train your SOI, train your sphere to give you referrals. Let them know how that your business is built off of it so that when they are hearing somebody else talk about real estate, that your name immediately pops up in their mind. You have to talk to Allison, you have to talk to Mallori or Nick. They're amazing. That is so important because it's really going to help build your business. I'm also a huge advocate for educating renters to be buyers. There's such a lack of information that people have on the real estate market and the process itself. So many people still think you need 20% down or don't know about down payment assistance programs. So make sure that even if it's someone you're working with to help them rent a place, or if it's just a friend or family member that's currently renting. I've never had someone tell me that they're not interested in the buying and or selling process. And it's an amazing way to help convert them and educate them on how they can become a buyer. So that's for warm leads. Now, I think it's very important to also participate in cold lead generation. By cold leads, I mean farming, door knockers, open houses, educational seminar, social media. Whichever one you're choosing is going to have a variety of effects. If you need to meet people immediately, I mean, who doesn't, right? What agent doesn't want a new client? Hosting an open house like Nick is doing right now is so important. Getting out in front of people and being able to talk to them who are actually looking, who are interested in going to see properties, and finding those people who are not currently using an agent, or maybe it's a nosy neighbor who wanted to come by and see the open house. That's an amazing way of getting listings. So if you don't have a listing, go onto the MLS, you can search for your brokerage name and see what other agents have current listings. I like to focus on new listings, the private listing network, those are doing a price change or a temporary not showing. They're going to be the one that you reach out directly to, as opposed to the mass email to your brokerage, like, hey, I'm here if you need me. You're not going to get that open house. And then once you're in with that agent, you're going to become their go-to. So when they do have an open house that they can't or don't want to sit at, you become that person. You get to post it to your social media. So now all of your sphere and everyone that you're connecting to is seeing you being active in the real estate market. It's another way of reminding them that you're there in a, a very small, like, tap on the shoulder, like, hi, remember me? I'm in real estate. So it's a great way to be able to do that. The other aspect I think is very important and usually overlooked is handwritten notes. So when, Nick was talking about birthdays or anniversaries, um, or just the anniversary of someone like buying their home, a handwritten note, besides just like, the like on social media or the, congrats, happy birthday message, sending them a birthday card or sending them, a handwritten note in the mail goes so much further than you imagine. Because I hate getting the mail. It's bills and brochures I never signed up for and spam, like credit cards that I don't want. That's it. So when I write handwritten notes, I always get an envelope that's a different color. So anything but white, because most of the envelopes are coming through from these businesses are white. So I want green or blue, like anything that's going to stand out. And I write those to, of course, my sphere. But if I have a buyer that can't find some things, right now we're still years and years of low inventory, I'm sending it out to owners in an area that have a property that fits their needs. So whether it's going on Remind to find other homes that are not on the market, to see if they're open to selling their home so I could create inventory for my clients. And then a lot of times they might not buy that home. So if I have a buyer looking, that might not be the right fit, but now I have a great lead for a seller who is interested in selling their home. And because they've already started to connect with me, then they're then be more willing to list with me. So getting those handwritten notes, high rises are amazing because it's one address and you just have to write the different unit numbers on there. But Remind's also a great tool for getting those other addresses in there. A lot of people do cold calling. I think that if you are going to do cold calling, having a system in place so you make sure that either like you're paying for a certain system to do it, or you have the names that you're going to do to make sure they're not on the do not call registry is very important. But when it comes to that print or digital marketing, pairing with somebody else, pairing with, say, a lender or an attorney that wants to also market, they're going to have money in their budget to also put towards this. And so if the financial commitment seemed a little bit more than you could financially budget, then committing with somebody else, you hold each other accountable. So if someone else is doing it, maybe you do it every other month where you're creating the postcard that goes out or the door knocker. And that's going to be an amazing way of making sure that you are being consistent while also protecting your budget, especially for marketing. But as I said, consistency is key. So whatever it is that you choose to do, make sure that you are committing to it and do it for a minimum of 6 months.
See, I
Thank
knew you
you. That's
had it.
Mel.
Thank you, Allison. I knew you had some jewels too. I feel like I'm gonna leave here like I've been to the jewelry store today. Hey, hey. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing with us. Mallory, it is your turn. Mallory is going to speak to us today, Mallori Lockett, about the skills that licensees, agents need in order to leverage their unique strengths. Thank you. You have to.
Hi, everyone. And Nick and, and Allison took so many of my jewels that I'm going to just dig deep and add more jewels. And I want to start with empathy. You have to be able to put yourself in the shoes of your clients and actually of your everyone in the transaction, the attorney, the inspector, the other agent on the other side of the table, because it starts with understanding where everyone is coming from, everyone's perspective. You don't have to agree with it, but you have to understand it. And so from there, that empathy, I want you also as realtors to identify exactly who your sphere of influence is. Like, it's easy for us to think, oh, it's our friends and family. I had to get an oil change today. So my sphere of influence is the person who is at that counter. It might be the mechanic. It might extend to the other people waiting in the room with me. Your sphere of influence is your dentist. It is the hygienist as well. So just don't think so narrowly. Anyone that you come in contact with becomes your sphere of influence if you're having a worthwhile conversation, if you're getting a product and service from them, etc. Once I fully identify, and I actually have, I think it's about 4 pages of who your sphere of influence could be. So I can send that out. It includes, your soccer coach for your kids, all of that sort of thing that you may not normally think of as in terms of your sphere of influence. Once you have that, decide that you're going to be an empathetic person. Once you have a broad sphere of influence as possible, think of those people that you may not have thought of. Then I want you to double down. And there's a wonderful book called Unreasonable Hospitality. Can't remember the author's name, but he is a bigwig in the restaurant industry. And essentially, it is spoiling your sphere of influence. It is making sure that everyone has as best an experience as you can give them. I don't think we maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I was talking with a group of realtors, and I was saying that I try to get to know as much about the other realtor on the side of the other side of the deal as possible. I'll go to their social media. I'll see what they're involved in. I'll see, I'll ask them how are the kids, all those sort of things. That's your way of connecting so that they will either work with you to get the deal done, give you the lead, or remember you somewhere down the road. And by spoiling your clients, so you've got the lead, and now you want your clients to become ambassadors for you. I'm a big believer in, we often give gifts at the end of the transaction. I'm a big believer in giving gifts along the way. And if your budget is slim to nil, that does not mean, hi, I'm glad you signed the contract, here's a Tiffany necklace. No, it might mean getting a cup of coffee. It might, this is what happened the other day. So I'm at a realtor event with Marky Lemons, actually, and she was taking a picture with someone. If you know Marky, if you're going to take a picture with her, you're going to have a wife, right? So as a consequence, she's taking a picture with someone else. She asked the person, do you have a wipe for your phone? The person didn't. Who had the wipe? That was another realtor, a big producer or top producer, who was grateful that I had wipes. She's going to always remember me and maybe refer me or maybe work with me. You never know. Anyway, I feel like I'm all over the place, but I feel so passionate about drilling down on the empathy and then using that empathy to expand your sphere of influence, and then revisiting that sphere of influence and then doubling down on spoiling them. So as I was saying, throughout the process, you may give a gift card for a cup of coffee, or you might say, hey, you said that when you move, you want, you need more cleaning material. Don't give it to them at the end. Give it to them like maybe after the inspection, things like that. I'm not saying go broke or whatever, but you constantly want those feelings of touch. And then after the deal is done, that's when the real work goes, I think, with lead generation. Because what better lead is than a satisfied client? And I'm not just saying that first year, which I think a lot of realtors are very good at. but remembering their birthday and not just, sending something through social media, but actually picking up the call or actually dropping by. Or if you have a client, for example, in Chicago, we have a lot of clients that are investors. They buy two flats, three flats, four flats, right? Those people, lots of times, are very limited on their funds because they just bought, a investment property. Send them information or send them to classes that will help them be a better landlord or a better investor, things like that. And I don't think here's another story. My client, young person, so proud of him. He has become like a pseudo son now. Bought a multi-unit. He was clueless. All he knew was that I should buy a multi-unit because everyone says buy a multi-unit. But had no idea about how to landlord. We happen to have investment properties. I was a property manager of condo associations in a previous life. So I am constantly feeding him resources. Either I'm talking to him or I'm asking my husband to talk to him, or I sent him to an open house the other day, just so that he can meet the realtor who is really good with grants, etc. I'm not afraid of losing him as a client. And if I do to a realtor that's better, that's a win-win. What's for me is for me. Secondly, another multi-unit person, truth be told, I knew her contractor she had a 203K loan, a construction loan, a renovation loan. I knew that he was interesting and that it might not work out. So I had in my back pocket someone who would be able to help her, in my opinion, better. And I kept in contact with her maybe every 2 weeks or so after she closed and followed them. That's a client for life. So again, double down with the empathy. Identify with this empathy. We're human beings. We tend to be self-centered. Step outside of yourself for a moment. Take a deep breath. Think about your fellow man. Once you do that, expand your horizon to your sphere of influence. Once you do that, double down on that. And that's, I think, maybe my 10 minutes. I can keep going.
Great job, Mallori. I think I can't even talk. The tips, the jewels, the nuggets that you all have shared, they're cost effective, they're basic, they're simple, they're easy. It's not going to extend you. Just empathy. Like, everybody should have empathy. So thank you for sharing that as well, Mallori and Allison and Nick. But now we're going to turn it over to Miss Sherry Jordan, and she's going to help us with our Q&A session.
Yes. So I have a page full of notes, and I will tell everyone I have been in this industry for 16 years, but I never stopped learning. So some of these things were new to me, and some were refreshers, because I'll be honest, like most of my clients are repeat clients and referrals. So I lose sight of that. So thank you everyone for your amazing tips. And because I love to hear not only for myself, but to also take to my agents. And I have a page full of notes and books to read and things like that. So I really appreciate that. I do have a couple of questions for you. And Mallori, I'm going to bounce this actually, Mallori, you touched on this. So I am going to bounce to Allison to ask her to elaborate on this. And that is, what method of lead generation would you recommend to agents that are on a tight budget? Mallori did talk about some of those. Allison, what would you add to that list?
So if you're on a tight budget, but of course still need to get those leads, I actually think hosting an open house is the most efficient and cost-effective way of getting those leads. Now, when I say hosting open house, it's not just sitting in that open house for those 2 hours. I think there's 3 aspects to it. One, you should be doing a virtual open house. So get there early, make sure all the lights are turned on. and have 20 minutes online where you're going to do a live open house. Ask your friends and families to sign on. So if someone else pops in, it's not empty. You get to do a virtual tour. You get to remind your sphere that you're in real estate. So it's great for the social media aspect, but you also can then start, like, promoting yourself. I then also start a little bit early where I will personally invite with handwritten notes the neighbors. So I will walk up and down that block, a couple of days beforehand with a "you're invited," and specifically invite them to the open house. That way, everyone wants to see what their neighbor's house looks like. I love a good nosy neighbor. Those are my new listings. Those are the people that I want to meet. Then when you're actually sitting at the house, make sure that not only are you familiar with that property, but also familiarize yourself with other properties on the market. Who else is having open houses? My little trick was to always look at the private listing network. What homes are not on the active market, where someone might see them if they don't have an agent, so they're not on Zillow or Trulia or Realtor or any of those other sites, where I can then get that person meeting at the open house to do a showing with me ASAP. I want to start acting like their agent as soon as possible. So I always believe that open houses are one of the most cost effective. The other thing I think is super important is to do a talk with renters and convert them into buyers. Taking a property that's similar to the one they're renting and break down the numbers for them to show what they would actually need to bring to the table, what their down payment would be, closing costs, the inspection, the appraisal, insurance, like write it all out, show them that there's down payment assistance options for grants. They might not be as far away to buying as they think. And starting that conversation with them, not only have I converted so many of those renters to buyers, but over a $5 coffee, then also then their landlord is losing a tenant. So they might need either to rent it out, and I want to be there for that too, or they want to sell that property because they no longer want to host an investment property. And I want to be able to help them with that. Those people were also the ones that always came back to me and were more willing to refer me. They were my ambassadors, my cheerleaders, like, because they were so excited that they, oh my God, I thought it was years away from buying, but my amazing realtor came over and we went through all of the information over a $5 coffee. So between those two things, it's really how I started my business, because I was on such a tight budget when I first started real estate, and open houses and converting my rental leads or my friends that were renting into buyers.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So, I want to ask, and because I like both of your tips, I like even Nick's, and everything that we have been that you all have been sharing with us have been very budget friendly. And I really love the personable touch, Mallory. What I would like to know is, have any of you purchased leads in the past? And if so, what are your pros and cons of buying versus going the empathy route, so to speak? So I'll ask you that, Mallory.
I am extremely biased. I will never purchase a lead. I understand why people have, and I understand that they've been successful with it, but I have my ABR designation, and more importantly than the designation is actually taking the class. The information that you learn in that class is so valuable, and so it's like rocket fuel for your career. Utilize those skills learned in that class. Also, through our association, we have all of these tools. We have Realist, we have Remind, we have RPR, we have Connect MLS. The leads are there. Take the MRED classes. You will learn how to lead generate. Talk to your broker. Talk to your managing broker. They have tools there too to help you lead generate. Why would I pay for leads when I'm already paying dues to the National Association of Realtors? I'm already paying money with my brokerage. I'm already out there meeting people. So, no, thank you.
I love that. I love that. I'll be honest, I'm a little biased myself, Mallory. And I have realtor friends, I have broker owner friends in the industry that they have had great success on purchasing leads. But for me myself, that never worked because and a lot of people don't think this, but I'm really an introvert. So I don't like to really approach new people. So I had to learn how to really work my sphere. And I do that by relationship building. So I like that. And it comes back tenfold. I'm going to ask both Mallory and Allison, give me 1 to 2 things that you think a new broker should have in place when they are starting to prospect and lead generate. Allison, I'll start with you. 1 to 2 things.
I think the most important thing, not even just for a new broker, I find that so many brokers that have been in the business for a while do not have their why statement. But especially when you're first starting out, if you're switching careers or you're just starting in real estate, every person's going to ask you, "Oh, why did you move into real estate?" And if you don't have the elevator pitch, right? That 30-second couple of sentences put together that not only describes, why you moved into real estate, but the passion behind it. There's an amazing book by Simon Sinek, Starting with Why, and he goes through the golden circle of what he calls for companies and how the ones that start with why are the most successful, and people that will buy into your message, buy into your passion and your drive are going to be more willing to work with you over someone that has more experience. There's like a biological aspect to it. I might even try to, say it's like a 17-minute TED Talk, so we could put the link in there. I think it's really amazing to be able to vocalize why you are in the real estate business. And it shouldn't be focused on, oh, well, I wanted to start my own business. I want to make more money. I want to have a flexible schedule. That's not what people are going to be driven for your passion. It should be about how you are inspired by your clients and their journey. For me, I'm honored that I get to help people with what is the largest financial decision of that year, if not for years to come. In residential, that's likely where they're living, so it has an emotional aspect to it, maybe where they're raising their family. This is a huge decision for them. And then beyond that, it helps build communities. It helps build generational wealth. It helps children that are raised in homes that are, owned as opposed to rented do better on standardized tests and have less behavioral issues. We as realtors have such an effect on our communities, on people's lives, not just for that purchase, not just for the months that you're working with them or the follow-up, for years and generations to come. And being able to vocalize that is going to be the most important thing, because I didn't have that in place when I first started. And when I switched my message, I realized people saw me differently. And even though both messages were 100% true, when I became more vocal about my why, I started seeing that comeback of how people were engaging with me more and were realizing my passion and my drive to help them. Because that's really what it is that I'm on their team to help them realize their goals. So I think that's the most important thing that any new realtor should have in place. And that one's free.
I love that. Mallory, do you have one to add?
Yes. I believe that with every new realtor, 2 things. Right now, NAR is offering the class for free, not the designation, but the class, the ABR class. Take that class, especially now that it's free. Secondly, go through your phone and whomever is in your contacts, it might be 50, it might be 100, whatever, get their, you already have their phone number, get their email address, get their address. Call them, let them know that you're in the business and that you want their business. Everyone
Okay.
has at least 50 people in their phone.
I love that. And I'm going to stay with you. One more question for you ladies, and then I have a great question for Lenora. Any tips on time blocking or time management? How do you allot your time, and how much of time do you allot for lead generation?
So I'll jump in first. I think it's really important to time block for lead generation because my day gets out of hand. So I like to do it first thing in the morning before the millions of emails and the texts and the phone calls and the showings. So the night before, I will actually make sure I have the list of the people that I'm going to be contacting. I usually do it when I'm in the car, or if I'm driving to my first showing or to a meeting. It's a great time to start connecting with people. But I will put it in my calendar for an hour to catch up with people. I think it should be a minimum of 5 people that I talk to. So if they can't pick up, it's not just 5 people I'm calling. Some people aren't, available. I'm leaving voice messages. I want to connect with them. I want to set up a face-to-face. So I will have my list handy so I know exactly what I'm starting with that day. I do it first thing in the morning, what do they call it, like eating the frog, because there's so many other things that, I'll wind up doing otherwise, like laundry or walking my dog, that if I don't get it out of the way, just like working out, by the end of the day, I'm never going to do it.
2 more books, Eat That Frog and What's Habits. What's the name of the book? Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
Read those books, and even after you read those books, if you're like me, I could not be motivated to lead generate. I know how important I knew how important it was. I mean, you cannot get around it if you want to be in business, but I just could not do that. You have to develop a routine, and you have to pride yourself on being in business. And although I said that, even that didn't work. So finally, I said, I don't want to do it 5 days a week. So what can I do? And so I would do it 3 days a week. And then I would say, okay, I'm going to do it 3 days a week, and I'm going to commit 30 minutes. Now, mind you, this is our business. This is how we eat. And I was resisting doing that. But when I broke it down to bite size, when I stopped making it this big thing, either I lead generate or I'm going to starve, and just committed to a half hour 3 times a week. And then I changed my mindset gradually as well. Instead of I have to lead generate, it's like, oh my God, I get to lead generate today. And I don't even call it lead generating, because what does that mean in the real world? I get to invite a conversation. I get to have a conversation with others who may want to purchase or sell their home. Because I believe, getting back to Allison and your why, my core belief is that sanctuary is your human right. And I am here to assist you in getting your human right. So when you think of it about like that, think about it like that, it's easier to sit down and call 5 people or 8 people, as Nick said, or write the personal notes. But start small. Do 3 people in 15 minutes and clock yourself.
But be consistent, right?
But be
Like
consistent. Be it
consistency
3
is
days,
key.
be it every day, be it 1 day a week. Be consistent. Be it 2 people 1 day a week. At the end of 4 weeks, that's 8 people that you contacted that you hadn't before.
I think what Mallory's saying is amazing. To build off of it, I actually had changed my mindset of the conversations I was having. I know I felt like this. I know so many other agents I've heard that they don't want to sell to their sphere, right? Like they don't want to call them like, hey, I'm in real estate now. Do you want to buy or sell? Those shouldn't be the conversations you're having. The conversations, and when I realized this, it took such a turn in both my energy and desire to do it. where it wasn't selling to my sphere, it was building a better bond with them. I was just calling to say hi, like, how are you? Having a discussion about, what they're doing. And again, if it's like, hey, I just got a promotion, I'm so excited. Yes, you could like put like, your realtor ears up and be like, oh, like, they might be needing something or great news, we're expecting whatever it is. There's definitely times where that conversation will lead you towards real estate. And once I went in with the mindset of I'm not trying to sell to my sphere, I'm not trying to sell to my friends or family, I'm trying to build a better bond with them, then that changed the way I was approaching these phone calls. And it no longer felt like, oh God, I have to call these people. It felt like something I actually wanted to do.
I
You know, I want to
love
add
that.
something. Can I just add something right quick? This is what I've noticed. If you see something on social media and then within a day you contact that person live about what you saw on social media, they are really pleased to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Goes so
I was
much
just
longer
doing
than
it
like a like.
organically because I would see the person the next day or whatever. But then it invites a whole other, more, oftentimes, and you get the story behind a Facebook story. So now you have this information that, and along with empathy, right, that allows you to really connect with that person and serve their needs.
Thank you
So
so much. I have one last question as we wrap up, and this is for Lenora. Lenora, we've heard about so many books, so many tools that we have in the palm of our hands, and even in our area and network. I would like, can you please share what classes that we have within the realtor real estate school that can help with the lead generation?
Absolutely can. I think, it takes a lead to make a lead. So you have to be, and this whole conversation is about taking the initiative, finding ways to make the connection. So what we've done over at the Realtors Real Estate School, which is a division, of course, of the Chicago Association of Realtors, we've done a lot of the work. We've worked with, in terms of our curriculum, it's been written by local real estate top producing licensees and professionals. And it's a great way through a class called Mastering Real Estate Lead Generation. This class, believe it or not, we found economical ways in this meeting, this midday mastery meeting, and also in the class for $29. We're talking about 2 cups of Starbucks. And if you drink all that milky water like I drink, it is worth it because you'll have it for a lifetime. But in this mastering real estate lead generation, you'll hear a lot of the topics that we've talked about today. You'll hear about a lot of the suggestions, how to generate those leads, techniques, tricks, tools. You'll hear from those practicing professionals as well. It's microwavable learning. So maybe you've got 10 minutes to do it today and you'll come back to it later on in the day or maybe tomorrow. Pick up where you left off at. Take notes, but take it with you and use it. What I've heard from you all today, 21 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. If I had known just snippets of what is happening today, we have social media. That's a number one advantage. When Nick shared LinkedIn, the 8x8, making 8 contacts before 8 a.m. We are the real estate army. Get up and make it happen before 8 a.m. Set your day. What is your hour worth? What are you doing to make sure that you're successful at 8 a.m. and by 8 p.m.? So if you had to take a 12-hour block, what are you doing with that time? So I love that it starts with us. When Nick stated that it's a reset, I took notes too, Sherry, so I'm just reading from my notes really quickly. Protect your peace. Because if you're the leader in protecting your peace, you're going to make sure that your day is efficient enough to earn you those 8 leads, those 8 contacts, or maybe that one lead in that day. When Allison shared with us, how to train your sphere. I never looked at that like that. Go, wherever you go, my one suggestion, wear your name tag. If you go to the grocery store, if you go to Mallori when you got the oil change, if you show up at the kids' play or soccer for the day, you've invited a conversation just by having it on your chest. And now people know what you're doing. So show up in these areas so that people can present themselves as a lead to you. And now you're a subject matter expert and you just showed up. When Mallori spoke about empathy, and that's towards everyone in that transaction. You always think about the client, but having that empathy for the loan officer, the mortgage officer, for the underwriter, for the attorney, everybody has a piece of the process. What are you doing to help that process move seamlessly? So I love everything that you share. I want to also share, we've got a lot of classes going on over at the Realtors Real Estate School. It is CE season. This is the 11th hour, people. April 1st is around the corner. And if you have not taken care of your CE, we need to talk. I want to talk to you. So reach me by phone 312-214-5513 if you need any CE answers, questions, suggestions. If you want to take some additional webinar classes with us to earn some elective CE hours, we've talked about designations and certifications and all of these other lead generating businesses. We have the short sale foreclosure resource class coming up next week on April 2nd. It is a webinar, so you can do it from the comfort of your home and earn 6 hours of elective CE credit. Also, next week, we'll have the seller representative specialist class on, no, that's week after next, on April 9th. That's another way for you to specifically, if you want to kind of work more exclusively with sellers, learn how to do that. Learn the techniques, tricks, and tips, as well as earn 8 hours of elective CE. Maybe you haven't earned your license at all and you need to learn how to do that. We can help you with that in a virtual sense, starting on Saturday, April 6th, we'll have the 75-hour broker pre-licensing course starting on Saturdays as a webinar. You can learn from the comfort again from your home and take that 75-hour. And then we're picking the school up and moving to the south side. We'll have a 2-week accelerated format of the 75-hour class on the south side of Chicago starting April the 8th. How do you pay for all of this? How do you take these classes? How can you afford this? Look into taking one of our foundations, applying for one of our foundation scholarships. We have designation scholarships, certification scholarships, pre-licensing scholarships, and it is still Women's History Month. We've got scholarships specifically for women. So what are you waiting for? Let's go.
That is amazing. Thank you so much. I took amazing notes today. I see that a lot of other ones took amazing notes. Thank you so much to our speakers today, Nick Libert, Mallori Lockett, and Allison Swedenberg. You all had some amazing tips and nuggets that we will take with us and implement today. Thank you, Lenora, for moderating, and thank you, Sherry, for the Q&A. Thank you to our committee for putting this together, and we look forward to seeing you all at our next Midday Mastery. Have a good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.